Welcome back to my channel. In this video tutorial, I will be showing you how you can use Playwright AI agents to automate your testing processes. To get started, you need to have Visual Studio Code 1.105 or above, and the Playwright. If you're using, you can use extensions to install the Playwright, or you can use command line to install the latest version of the Playwright. Also, you need Node.js. If you have not installed, make sure you have Node.js installed. So if you are using extensions, you can go to extension and search for Playwright. Make sure you use the one which is from Microsoft and install the latest version of this. The other way around, you can use command prompt to install the agent, the latest version of the agent. So for that, you can use the command. So it will ask you whether you want to use TypeScript or JavaScript. So right now Playwright supports only these two, Playwright agents. So we'll be using TypeScript in our case. Then it will ask you for some configurations. You can, since I have already installed, so for me it will not, it is asking to overwrite. So we are done with it. Once you are done setting up all the prerequisites, that is Visual Studio Code, Node.js and the Playwright, the next step will be to get your agent setup done. So for this, just run this command. In the terminal window. And your setup will be done. Right now, since I had already everything running, so it was a little fast. I had already installed this before this call, so that's why it was very fast. So you will see that there are three agents that it's got installed: Playwright Test Generator, Test Healer and a Test Planner. So these three agents we will be using shortly. And this you can view this in the chat window. So to open that, click on this chat. So here you will see the agents. So right now it is not showing, so let me first open one folder, add a folder for the test case. So I have opened a folder, Playwright Agent Tutorial 2, and then you will see that it will show here. Right now it is not showing, so sometime it doesn't reflect immediately. So we'll close this Visual Studio Code and then start again. So once you reopen and then open the folder and then run the command to set up the agents. So once you do that, your agents will show up over here. So as we have seen here, the three agents. So those three agent definition you will see in the chat window over here: Playwright Test Planner, Test Healer and Test Generator. So these three agents will be using it. So the Test Planner will be used to create your test plan. Test Generator will be used to create the test scripts from the test plan, and the Test Healer will be used to fix any issues in the test cases, the test scripts, the automated test scripts. If there are any issues, the Test Healer can fix that and rerun that. So let's get started on this. So make sure once this three agents are visible, to make sure that it is all correct, you can add check with a particular prompt. For example, you can select, is this Playwright Planner? So we'll select this and ask the agent. So if you see this message, yes, this is the Playwright Test Planner, which means your setup is correct and you're ready to use your Playwright agent for your test scripting. The one more point I want to add over here is the model. So you can pick all the models that any model that you want. So it will depend on the license that you have. Right now I will be using GPT 4.1, but you need to make you can use the model depending on your license that you have, and you can have to get that account information. Make sure from the profile you log into your user which is having the access to that GPT model. So far we are set up, we have done the setup and the first part is complete, and the next we'll see how we can use this Playwright agent to create your test plan. So first step will be to set up your environment, that is this Visual Studio installation, update, getting Playwright agent configured and making sure the Playwright agent is pointing to the right model. The next step will be to create your config files and make sure the config file is correctly updated. That we'll see now, and that after that we'll be using the test planner agent to create a test plan, which will be the starting step for creating your test scripts. So to create your test like to update the configuration, so we'll create a test configuration file. So for that also I will not be creating it manually. I will let the agent create for me. So I will give a prompt, create config file for running Playwright agent tests, and then run this. So now if you see the agent has created config file for me. So I can ask it to create the file for me by using apply it in editor, or depending on your configuration like permissions, it can already directly add to your folder. So once we apply it, it will ask whether you want to keep. So I will keep this and update. So once you create your config file, so save it to the root folder, and then the next step will be to update this config file. So if you can see in the configuration file, we have option for test directory. So by default when it created, it is given dot. So we'll give a specific name like tests, and so it will create all my tests in under this folder. Next, whether we want to run it in parallel. So for this demo I will mark it as false. Next we have different options, like if you see screenshot on failure, video, retain on failure. So I will keep all this as is. The next thing is the URL. So I will provide the base URL in this file. So instead of this localhost, we'll be using one demo site. So this is my blog site. So I will be in today's video I will be using this to demo on how to create the test plan and test cases. So I have used this in the URL. The next thing is the browsers, what all different browsers you want to run. So right now by default it created for 3 browser types: Chromium, Firefox and WebKit. So these 2 I will, and also for the mobile. So all this I will, for now I will comment it out and keep only Google Chrome. So I will just comment out except for Google Chrome, the rest I will comment it out. I think this also need to be commented out. Yeah, so we are left with only Chrome. There is one more point where if we want to run headless, that also we can add a comment setting over here. Right now we are not running it as a headless. So once you update the config file, we are now ready to create our test plan. For that we'll go to the planner agent and give a prompt, explore the application and create test plan using URL from config. So this is now Playwright agent will try to identify all the scenarios from that application. So if you can see, it has launched a browser. It will try to run it. It is asking for an approval. So if you can see the comments, allow without review in this session. So you can use this to review and run so that you're clear what you're doing. So right now I will go ahead and run it. So it is running it in background. So for the sake of video, I will just bypass this in the recording and show you once it is done. So if you can see, it is still identifying, running and trying to identify the test cases. So it has ran and it is still running. So it is trying to run each links like blog and so on. So now you can see that the scanning of the website is done, and there is a comment that it is now creating the test plan. So depending on how big the application is and what all modules we have asked Playwright agents to scan, it will take time. Sometime it may take more time. So for this one I have asked to scan the entire website, so it has taken few more minutes. So right now it is creating the markup file with all the test cases. So if you can see, it has created this markup files .md file with all the test scenarios, and it has in the chat also it has showing, it will show the output, the website analysis summary and so on. So this will help you identify all the test scenarios. In this case it was a simple website, but if it is a normal application, CRM application or any application, you can use in the similar way to scan the pages and identify test scenarios. It gives, the agent gives us the MD file, which we can manually review it, and then if required we can update or recreate specific sections. if it looks like it is not correct. So in this case, if you see, it has created detailed MD test cases with steps and expected results also. So this complete file is generated automatically. In the outline view, you can see here section wise, like test scenarios, then core navigation layout, content display organization suite, search and discovery, and so on. So here we complete this first part of our test case creation. So this is the manual test case creation is done, and then we can review it manually. If there is any correction required, we can do it directly in that MD file, and then use this MD file, the markup file, the test plan, to create our automated test scripts. So for this today's video, we'll be taking one example, one test scenario like home page layout and navigation, and create a test scripts for this. So what I will do, I will give, while creating the test scripts, I need to change the agent as test generator. So this is important because test planner is used to generate a test plan, which we have already done. The next step is to create the test scripts. So we'll change the agent to test generator and then give a prompt to create test script. So this is the prompt that I have given, create test script for 1.1 homepage layout and navigation. And since in the context we have selected this MD file, so it will pick the test case from this MD file and generate the test script for us. So this may take again some time depending on how big the test case is. So for the sake of this video, I will pause the recording and then come back once the test script generation is complete. So now if you see, the Playwright agent is completed writing the test case for the navigation, and it has created a file with the extension .ts. TS because we are using TypeScript. And if you see the Playwright config, sorry, not this one, homepage.spec.ts. So, and since the folder that we have given earlier during the configuration to create all the test under test folder, so it has created test folder and created the test script underneath this. So this all, if you can see all the test case that is created over here. This is done by the agent test generator. So the second part is done now, which is basically creating that actual test script to execute the test case. The next step will be to run this and see if it is giving any error. If any error, then the healer will come into picture and fix that issues. So we'll use this test healer and run it. Since we are running it for the first time, we can use this one. This we can use later on also if after some time there is some code change and there is some change in the layout or some functionality change, we can use this healer to fix that also. But in this case right now, since this is the first run, we will run it and then any issues coming up, we will fix that issue at the same time. So I am giving a command, the prompt to execute the home page test and fix if there is any issue. you can see that as a context file, this I have selected this homepage.spec.ts. This is important to point to note. So you need to make sure that you have the file, test file, in the context. Now it may take, again it will take some time depending on how quickly it can run. If there are more error, it will take time to fix it. So it is trying to check the configuration and then accordingly it will run. So there is, say it found an issue, so it will try to fix that and then it will run again. So it is asking to keep, so I will say yes. Similarly, it will try to run, and if it finds any issue in the script, it will fix it and then run. So for the sake of this video, I will pause the recording and then proceed. Come back once all the test script is fixed. So now you can see that the test healer has executed all the test and fixed all the failing scenarios, and the current status is passing. So this test was run in a headless mode. We can run it over the browser and then check this also. So since it was running in a headless mode, for this I will be using, I've added this setting. This was not there by default, so you can use this to run in a non-headless mode. If you make it true, it will run in a headless mode. So I have started the execution again, which is a non-headless mode. Now since the test case is now fixed and executing successfully from the headless mode, so what I have done is I have executed from the command line. So it will launch the browser and try to run this test case from the UI. So looks like it failed from the UI. We need to see why it failed. So I have re-executed that test. Let me see. So on checking the report, we see that one of the element expect to visible is failing. So we need to fix this again from the healer agent and see if it is working after that. So what I did, I executed again the healer agent and tried to fix it. So there was it fixed one line in the code, and now checking again. So this is how it will work. So once we run, fix, and then execute, it will give the final set of tests, which is error free. So in the current application, there are a lot of ads, so which is why I think it is trying to fix it, but it is failing it inside some time. The status it is showing as successful. So we'll again run from the command and see if it is running correctly. So after few fixes, we managed to run it, the test case with all scenarios passed, and I can show the report. So if you run the report, if you see the report, all the test case steps are passed now. So this is how you can use your Playwright agent to create your test plan, test scripts, and then execute it. If it is having issue, you can use the healer agent to fix it. So this will help you automate your testing process and make it much faster to script it. This will also help you to script in a faster way for a non-technical or anyone who is not very good into coding can also use it with bare minimum knowledge of coding. So it's good for a functional tester to create an automated test scripts. Even if your intention is not to automate, you can use the marked up files that is created, the MD file, to create your manual test scripts, and which also it's generally a first step to your automation. So this will help you create your test scripts. The only drawback you may find here is that it expects that the application that is running without any issue, and the functionality that is built into that application is what the customer is require. To find the issues from the functional side, whether it's the rightly built or not, there you need some manual intervention. Otherwise, wherever it is a repetitive task and where we know that the application is working fine, but we need to create test scripts and automate it for future runs, so you can use Playwright agents. So in the current version, it's still little you may find some issues, but as and when the new version of Playwright agent comes, it may become more efficient. So in the current one, you might have seen initially the test scripts that it created had some issues, because when we used the healer to run, it had to fix those. So in the first instance, it was not able to create the perfect test script, but still agent was able to identify the issue and fix those. So to give you a recap of what we have done today, so we went ahead and installed and updated the prerequisite software that is required, that is the VS Code 1.105 or above, Playwright test extension, and Node.js. In my case, Node.js was already installed, so I have not installed during this video. And the next step was to set up the agent. For that, you need to run this command. Once all this is done, you need to go ahead and start running like using the Playwright agents, the 3 agent: test planner, test generator, and test healer. If you have liked this video, please do subscribe to the channel for further updates on new videos. For any queries or clarification, do ask your question through the comments. Thank you for watching.